Hello YouTube! Today on The Naughty Librarian, I'm bringing you another episode of Drunk Classics, and this time we are doing Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I got my pirate hat, I got my wine. I know, a lot of people are saying, Amanda, you gotta drink rum because you're reading a pirate book. But you know what? I don't have to. I spent a lot of years trying to like hard alcohol, only to realize I don't like hard alcohol. I like wine. I like what I like, you know? So I'm having this wine in particular. I'm drinking a Sancerre today, and this is from the Loire Valley in France. It's basically Sauvignon Blanc, but it's also has a really nice quality to it because a lot of Sauvignon Blancs have like kind of a grassy smell, and this one has more of like a cucumber smell, if that makes sense. It's like less grassy, so I'm enjoying it, and it's particularly good with goat cheese, so I'm having goat cheese and wine. You might be asking, hey Amanda, are you eating cheese in bed? And the answer is yes. I'm living my best life, everybody. But anyway, let's start this book and get into all of my swashbuckling adventures. Hi, checking back in. So this book is told like in parts, like part 1, part 2, part etc. And so I just finished part 1, so let's discuss for a minute. There's this kid, right? This kid Jim, and he's like his parents own this like inn, and he's telling the story, and one day this like Captain Bill shows up, and he's like an old sea guy, like he's obviously a seaman, and they're like, okay, you're like a craggy dude, and he's also just like a raging alcoholic. But he's obviously like hiding out from other pirates. So they're like, all right, you can stay, whatever. And then, you know, he stays for a while, and then there's this guy, Black Dog, who shows up, and he's missing a bunch of fingers because, you know, pirates. Honestly, like, the pirates in this book are cartoony. But, like, this is, like, maybe one of the first, like, piratey books. So maybe this is where, like, all of our notions of, like, you know, peg legs and parrots and, you know, treasure maps and hooks for hands have come from. I don't know. So anyways, Black Dog shows up, and like Bill is like, no, we're not friends, get this guy out. And so like he ends up leaving, blah blah blah. And then another craggy sea guy shows up, and he's blind, and his name is Pew, and he shows up, and he's just like, hey, where's the captain? And he shows up, and he gives the captain the black spot, which apparently means like, you gotta get your ass to that ship, homie. And so he gives Captain Bill the black spot, and he's like, oh no, and he just drops dead. So the kid and his mom are just like, oh no, like what are we supposed to do? There's a dead pirate in our house. What are we supposed to do? So they're like, okay, well he came in with this like chest, like let's go through the chest, like maybe that's useful. So they go to his room, and they like open his chest, and they take a bunch of stuff out. Like the mom is trying to like account for like all the money he spent at their inn, so she's like taking gold doubloons or whatever, and the kid finds like these like group of papers, so he like grabs and puts it in his pocket, and then he hears the blind man coming back, who's creepy as shit. So the kid's like, Mom, we gotta get the fuck on out of here, like that blind guy means business. And so they leave, and then Pew shows back up with like sea piratey friends, and he's like, hey, let's go get Bill, fuck this guy. And so they go into the inn, and they're like, Bill's dead. Well, shit. Like, everyone's upset that he's dead because apparently he has things they want. So Hugh is all angry. He's like, oh, this guy's dead. He's so useless, he couldn't even stay alive. Like, he's so upset, and he's taking out his anger on the other two pirates. And the other two pirates are like, you know what, Pew? Go fuck yourself. We're out. And they, like, leave him. And Pew's like, oh, but I'm blind. So anyway, he's walking down the street, and he just gets run over by a horse, because that's what happens, I guess. And the kid's like, oh no, now I have 2 dead pirates. So the kid has 2 dead pirates and doesn't know what to do with them. So he's like, I don't know, let's go tell the doctor, because there's this doctor who's been around, who's also maybe like the sheriff or the magistrate. He's like Dr. Cop. And so they're like, let's go tell Dr. Cop what's going on. And so they go to his house, and Dr. Cop's like, okay, like I see. And what do you have from him? And he's like, oh, I got some coins. And he's like, all right, keep the coins, whatever. He's like, I got these papers. He's like, give me the papers. So they all go through these papers, and like most of it's nonsense. And then there's a map with a bunch of X's on it, you know, for treasure and how to get there and everything. And they're like, oh, treasure map. And they're like, oh, you know what we're gonna do? Dr. Cop, my squire, and this kid, we're gonna get in a boat and go get the treasure, because apparently they're skilled seamen somehow. I don't know. Dr. Cop, a child, and like his secretary, we're pirates now. I don't know what's happening. That's kind of, I think, the premise for the book, like how they get the treasure map. But also, you know, other people are looking for this treasure map. Bad people are looking for the treasure map. So they're gonna have to have a boat race, I guess. I don't know. Let's move on to part 2. Okay, I am back. I have finished part 2, and some shit has gone down. Oh my word. Okay. So they're all like, hey, let's go be pirates. We're gonna go get this treasure. And he's like, okay. And so they send the squire, who's a gossipy bitch, to go buy a boat and get the crew and stuff. So he buys this boat called the Hispaniola, and they're like, cool. And he gets a bunch of people on the ship, and he's like, hey guys, I found this guy. His name is Long John Silver, and he's gonna be our cook. Like, I think he's cool. And I didn't know Long John Silver was from this book. So now I am very excited, because all I knew that it was like a fish place that I've never eaten because I'm a vegetarian, but like Long John Silver, he's a real thing. And he's full cartoon pirate. He doesn't have a leg, and he has a parrot. He has a parrot that says pirate stuff, guys. Like, there's even a parrot on his shoulder, and like he has one leg. And so anyway, everyone really likes Long John Silver. And then you have Captain Smollett. They got a captain for this ship, Captain Smollett. He's kind of like a stick in the mud, but like a good captain. And they're like, all right, whatever, cool. So they all get on the boat and they head off. And then like one night, Jim, the little kid Jim, he's like, hey, I'm gonna get in this apple barrel, because he's a kid and he gets in an apple barrel. And then he's like, what's this? And he hears Long John Silver, who he thought was really cool too, talking pirate shit to people, saying like, oh yeah, and my peg leg. I had a peg leg, and I knew all those other pirates, you know, from part 1, and they were my friends. We were on that ship with Captain Flint. Like, we know about this treasure. It's our treasure. Like, he's a full-on fucking pirate. And they didn't know, and now they have a pirate on their ship, and he's like recruiting other people to be pirates with him. Oh no, he was the guy with a peg leg. I don't remember if I told you this earlier, but like Captain Bill earlier, he was hiding from a guy with a peg leg. Turns out, Long John Silver, peg leggy motherfucker he is. So, oh shit, now they're on a ship with a bunch of pirates who are like, hey, let's mutiny, let's kill these fuckers and get the map and go. And then Long John Silver's like, no, we gotta leave Smollett alive for a while, because he's the only one who knows where the X's on the map are. Like, he's the only one guy who knows, so we gotta leave him alive until at least we get the island. And they're like, all right, whatever. And so Jim overheard all of this, and he's like, oh no, but I thought he was cool. Oh shit. He's like, Dr. Cop. I'm just gonna call him Dr. Cop. I know he has a name, I think it's Livesey, but like his name is Dr. Cop to me. So he's like, Dr. Cop, I have some shit to tell you. You better get in that, go below deck and call the captain. Like, you are not gonna believe what I found out. And they're like, okay. So they go downstairs and they have a meeting, and Jim's like, these are piratey guys, and they're gonna do pirate shit, and they're probably gonna kill us. What the fuck are we supposed to do? And the captain kind of has a similar response, where he's just like, well, I mean, we need them for now, so let's just leave them alive till we get to the island. So they're in a piratey mutiny stalemate, and they just like reached land. They're at like some place, like they're stopping for the evening at land so they can do piratey shit on land. And so now we're going into part 3. But yes, the tables have turned. They're on a ship with tension. There are piratey actions happening. There's a parrot and a kid in an apple barrel. Let's go. I am done with part 3, and it was very short, but so they get to that island. It's called Skeleton Island, and they're like, hey guys, go to the island and do stuff, you know. But it's not like an island with people on it. It's just like an island with trees and shit. So they're like, okay. And they all go to the island. They're real excited about it. Turns out, bad choice. So Jim, he's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna hop on this boat with the bad pirates, and I'm gonna spy on them, because, you know, he's a child. And so they get to the place, and Jim like just takes off. He's like, "Wah!" Just running through the forest, and he climbs up a tree. And then like Long John Silver comes walking along, well, hobbling along because he's got one leg. And then he's with other pirates, and then he hears like some guy getting murdered over there. And then one of the crew that's still good is with John Silver, and John's like, what you gonna do, you know? But like the good guy's like, I'm not having any of this shenanigans. So he tries to walk away, and Long John Silver like murders the heck out of him. Like he hits him with a tree, and then he like stabs him a bunch. And like Jim up in the tree is just like, oh no, like I have gone too far. So he's freaking the fuck out. So he gets out of this tree and he takes off again. He's like, oh no, I came to Murder Town. I didn't know it was gonna be Murder Town. And then he meets this guy who's been on the island for 3 years. And his name is Ben Gunn. So he got marooned there 3 years ago. And he's just like a little Looney Tunes because, you know, he's been alone on an island for 3 years. And he's just like, oh, child boy, like, let me tell you stories. And he's like saying stuff. He's like, oh, that ain't Flint's ship over there. And he's like, oh, it's not Flint's ship, but like there's a bunch of Flint's old crew on it. We're in trouble. And he's just like, it was Flint's group that marooned me here. So like, why is everyone part of Flint's crew? It's like, are there no other pirate crews around? Every pirate they meet, they're all part of Flint's crew. So Jim, he's like, okay, Ben, why don't you come to the ship with us? And like, it's cool, like you can help us sail it because we're gonna try to get rid of all the bad pirates and like we'll need people. So like, just come on the ship with us. So they're gonna go to the ship, and then they start hearing cannons, and they're like, oh no. So now there's cannon fighting too. So that's where part 3 ends. It ends with cannon fire. So let's see. I don't know what's gonna happen next, but like, you know what? It's gonna be something with holes and ships and stuff. Okay, so I finished part 4, and honestly, I am very confused as to what is happening. Part of this might be wine, and part of it might also be I don't understand boat terms, I guess. I don't know. We go back to the boat. What's been going on in the boat while everyone's on this island? And I find out this is the treasure island. I thought it was some other island, but is this the treasure island they're on? Okay, they got there real quick. And so they're on the treasure island, and then we're back on the boat with Dr. Cop. And Dr. Cop is like trying to like figure out a plan with the captain, and then his secretary, and then some other of the good pirates. And they're like, oh, we gotta get rid of these bad pirates. Like, let's figure out a plan. And what I think happens is that they grab a bunch of shit and they get on a boat, and then they go to the island with their shit, and they go in this little stockade that's on the island, and they're like, haha, gotcha, suckers. But like, I'm very confused on why they thought leaving the boat was a good idea. So like, did they leave the boat, or am I crazy? Because I think they left the boat. And what's to stop the pirates from just getting on the boat and like fucking leaving their asses on the island? I am very confused on how this plan is working, but apparently it is. Dr. Cop and the captain and those guys, they're in the stockade. And then the pirates are like, we gotta kill these guys. And then Jim finds them, and Jim's happy. He's like, oh, I'm alive still, and Ben's around. And then he gets to the stockade, so they're all a happy family again. And these pirates show up, and Captain John Silver, because you know he's no longer the cook, he's a captain now, and he's just like, hey, like, listen, how about this? How about you just like give us the map so we can find the treasure? And then like we'll leave you some food and stuff, and then like we're chill, like we'll take the other food and we'll go, like we won't kill you. And then the captain's like, you can go fuck yourself, Long John Silver. Captain? Who's a captain? I'm a captain. You ain't no fucking captain. So Smollett is just like all up in his shit. He's like, no. You ain't no fucking captain. You can like suck a bag of dicks, homie. They get into like long drawn out fights over several days and they're all shooting each other. And the good guys they have a couple of casualties. There's a lot fewer of them than there are pirates, but they're killing a bunch of these pirates because apparently they're stormtrooper pirates who just can't hit the broadside of a barn. They have no aim whatsoever, and then our good guys have lots of aim, so they're like hitting pirates with bullets right and left, and then like all the pirates have run away now, and they're like, okay, let's take stock, and that's where it kind of ends. But like, I'm so confused. Where is the stockade? The stockade is on the island? Like, why would leaving the boat be the better idea? Why didn't they just leave the pirates on the island? All the pirates went to the island. They could be like, all right, see ya, suckers, and just leave on the boat with all of their supplies. But fucking Jim, it was probably Jim's fault because that little fucker kid got on the boat with the pirates and they're like, well, we can't leave Jim on the island. But like... why didn't they just, like, sail off and leave the pirates there? Fuck those pirates. Like, what are they gonna do? Row really hard after the boat? Like, they're not gonna catch up. Like, but why did they get off the boat? And why didn't the pirates steal the boat? The boat seems like a big part here that I'm very confused about. But I don't know. I'm gonna keep going and see what happens. So I finished part 5. And here we find Jim. Our plucky cabin boy Jim. And he's like, guys, like, I got it. I know what to do. I'm gonna go do this. And he, like, takes off again. Because that's, like, his thing. He just, like, takes off. But, like, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go over here. And I'm gonna find Ben's little shitty boat he has. And I'm gonna get in it. And I'm gonna go to the Hispaniola. And I'm gonna cut the anchor. Like a G. So he goes and he's over there and he cuts it and he's just like, oh shit, now the boat's going away. It's sailing away. I had no plan. So he has to catch up to the boat and he's in this shitty little boat. This shitty little thing. I use the term boat loosely because it's so shitty, the thing he's in. It takes him forever to catch up to a boat. Finally he gets on the boat and he's like, fuck yeah. So he's on the boat. And he's like, okay, here's what I gotta do. I've gotta take over this boat. Because there's, like, no one on this boat. Like, everyone just left the boat, apparently. Except for, like, there's, like, a dead guy and, like, an almost dead guy. And so, almost dead guy is Israel Hands. And he was mentioned a lot earlier. And he kind of turned into a bad pirate along the way. And so, Israel's like, hey, Jim. Why don't you give me some food and some brandy and, like, I'll tell you how to steer the ship. But the thing is, Israel Hands, dumb as a post. Like, Jim knows Israel's trying to trick him somehow. And he's like, okay, but for right now, though, our, like, thoughts are in alignment that we gotta get this boat back to the island because it's floating away. So Israel's like, hey, we gotta, like, beach this boat. Like, let's just point it at the island and let it rip. Like, they're just gonna beach the boat so they can get on it real quick and then off the island. And so and then, you know, the big trickery comes. It's really poorly executed trickery. Israel pulls a knife on Jim, essentially. He's like, I was faking how hurt I was. I got a knife. But the thing is, Jim's got a gun. So, like, literally Israel brought a knife to a gunfight. So they're kind of fighting, but I don't think either of them really wants to kill one another because, you know, Jim's a child and Israel is an idiot. So, like, Israel eventually throws a knife and it kind of gets, like, Jim in the arm and he's like, ow! And, like, he's freaking out because he got stabbed. And so he shoots him kind of accidentally and he, like, dies. And the boat's on the ground now. The boat's on the beach. So Jim's like, all right, I'm killing it. I'm gonna go back to the stockade, see all my friends, and tell them, like, I did all this cool shit. I did it all by myself. Like, look at me. Pirate extraordinaire, Jim. Pirate Jim. But anyway, so he's on the island. He's walking around. He sees Ben over there making a fire, eating some stuff. And he's like, that's probably a bad idea, Ben, but you do you. And then he goes to the stockade and he gets in there. And the fucking parrot is just like, blah, 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 blah. It just keeps yelling pieces of eight, because they have the parrot standing watch. The parrot is the watch. And everyone's like, we got you. So now it's like, Silver's there. Long John Silver's there. And now he has Jim. And so now we're moving on to part 6, which is like the conclusion part of the book. The adventure's coming to an end. How is this going to shake out? I have finished Treasure Island. This was a fairly short little book. I think it's like about 200 pages. So like I knocked it all out in a day. It wasn't that hard. But yeah, I finished this with parrots. You know what, actually? You never find out what happened to that parrot. I assume the parrot's on the island. I don't know. But anyway, where did we leave off? So Jim, he's been taken captive by the bad guys. And he's like, oh shit. But Silver is still kind of likes Jim. He's like, you're a plucky little kid. And like, I like you. So like, here's the deal. We're going to have a secret talk. Hey, Jim, like, listen. I'll keep the other pirates from murdering the shit out of you, because they all want to do that. And in return, like, if we get back to land, you're gonna vouch for me and say I'm a good guy so I don't fucking hang. Because, like, things have gone downhill quickly since Jim has been off the island. So apparently, the bad guys are all sick. They're all wounded. They got fucking malaria. They are not doing well. And so they've kind of formed, like an accord with the good guys. So there's like, fine, we'll work together, kind of. And so they have the map and everything, and they're like, okay, let's go. We're gonna go get this treasure. And they find a skeleton, and they're like, oh, it's a skeleton? Like, this is the spot. Like, skeletons are spooky, and they would guard treasure. Let's do this. However, it is a spooky skeleton, and like, pirates are stupid in this. They are the dumbest humans. And so they start hearing voices in the woods singing the one pirate song, because like throughout this whole book, all the pirates do is sing one song. They just got one pirate song, no other songs. They're just like 15 men on a dead man's chest, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum. That's all they sing. No other songs. They got one song. So they start hearing that creepily sung in the forest, and they're like, oh no. Oh no. And then they start hearing other things, and it was like Captain Flint's last words, and they're like, oh shit, Captain Flint's ghost is here. Oh no. And they're all freaking out, and Silver's like, oh my gosh, you fucking dummies. The voice had an echo. Ghosts don't echo. Like, it's a person. Like, fucking chill. And they're like, oh, okay. Oh, you know what? It's probably Ben. We left Ben here. Remember Ben? So they're like, oh yeah, Ben. So they all kind of remember they left Ben on the island, and they're like, oh, I guess Ben's doing it. And they're just like, no other thoughts. They start digging some holes, and they find like this chest, and they're like, oh, it's treasure time. And then they crack open the chest, and it's empty. There ain't no treasure in it. And the pirates are upset by this. They do not like this. Silver is kind of still like, can I like hold the kid in front of me so he gets shot and not me? Like, he's still kind of like for himself. He's not a good guy. And then he's like, oh, okay. So, and he's trying to figure out a way out of this. And then luckily guns start going off, and it's the good guys. They like rounded on the bad guys, and they shot a couple of them, and they're dead. And the other 3 run off. There's 3 other dudes. They ran away. They're like, bullets. And so like you got Silver and Jim, and then the good guys are back, and they're like, hey, we shot some guys. We're partners now. We're friends again. Turns out Ben, he's been on this island for 3 years with nothing to do besides hunt goats, kind of. So like he found this treasure like a little bit ago. Like, he found it, like, not long ago, actually. He found it, he dug it up, and he put it in a cave he lives in. So, like, Ben's got all the treasure. He's like, I'm good. I got all the treasure. Ain't nobody's getting this treasure. And so, and Ben is friends with Jim and the good guys. So he's like, hey, like, if you take me on your boat with you, like, we could all have this treasure. Like, it's cool. And you're like, okay. So they have to go get the boat. And then they go get, like, the regular boat, the Hispaniola. They go get it. and then they go over around the island to where the cave is. And they're like, yay, treasure cave! And then they all have a big dinner and they're happy because they have a treasure cave. But anyway, it takes them like a few days and they get all the treasure on the boat. And they're like, what are we gonna do with those 3 other guys that like took off? And they're like, well, I guess we're leaving them on the island. And Ben's like, that is the best idea. Ben's so excited about leaving these guys on the island. And so that's what they do. They just leave them, and then they leave them some food and stuff because they're not complete assholes. So like they leave those guys on the island, and then they go, they leave. With a boat full of treasure. They get to like the Spanish Americas briefly, because they're like, we gotta pick up some more people. We got like 6 dudes on this boat. It's not enough dudes to like sail this boat. We gotta get some more. So they stop off there to pick up some more sailors. And like, of course, Long John Silver, he escapes with like 1 big bag of gold, never to be seen again. So he made off on his own without getting hung or murdered with some gold. So like, he's doing fine. So they all sail back home to Bristol with a bunch of money, and they all kind of split it between them. And then, you know, everyone goes off and does their own thing. And the book kind of ends with like, the Jim's, it's like, yeah, you know, there's probably more money and treasure on that island, but fucking none of us are going back there ever again. Never. Do not recommend going there. It's horrible. There's malaria. There's pirates. There's nothing good on that island. Fuck that island. We ain't going back. We got enough treasure. So they're not so greedy. But yeah, so it ends well. The Captain Smollett, he's okay. He got shot a bunch, but like he lives. And then Dr. Cop's okay, and Jim's okay, and like Long John Silver's fine, I guess. He took off on his peg leg with gold. Ben's okay, but he's really bad with money. Whatever, Ben's Ben, you know? And then like everyone's okay. So yeah, it's kind of a happy ending, I guess, except for those guys who got left on the island. Like, they are not happy. This was a fun little read. It took me like a few hours. Like, it was like not really that long of a book to read. And it was like a kind of a fun piratey adventure. Was it like my fave? Like, no, like it was fun. It was kind of like enjoyable to see like, you know, cartoony pirates with all of their like cartoony pirate speak. Like, they actually say shiver me timbers like quite a few times. Not ironically, like that's just words they say in their life. Like, I don't know, I give it like 4 stars. Fine, it's fine, you know what I mean? Is it like a miracle of a book? No, but it's fun. It's a fun book. It could have been longer. It's kind of too short as it is. It's 200 pages. It's not long enough for like a really thought out book with like more danger, but it's fine. It's fine. Let me know in the comments down below, have you read Treasure Island? And if so, what did you think of it? Or hey, what other piratey books do you like? Because this one is cartoon pirates, and I'm like so excited for cartoon pirates right now. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye!